be honest, not all engagement looks the same. Some of it's fake, some of it's forced, and some of it flows. Have you ever been somewhere physically but not really present? Maybe at work or in a conversation or even scrolling on your phone. You're checking the box, your body is there, it's doing its thing, but your mind is miles away. You're phoning it in. Once we stop playing the victim, which we talked about in my last video, the next step is to ask, how are we showing up? Because how you show up matters, not just for results, but for how alive you feel. Today I want to talk about the 5 levels of engagement and why they show up everywhere, from school to your job, to your relationships, to your civic life, to your health, to your finances. It's everywhere. Most of us think of engagement as a light switch, either into a thing or you're not. You're in or you're out. Mikey likes it or he doesn't. But in reality, it's a spectrum. It's a staircase, a ladder. I used to think I was just lazy in some areas in my life, but in reality, I was compliant or even retreating. Behavioral, emotional, and cognitive engagement is a staple in education and psychology. It helps us understand how people are engaged, how they're plugged in, not just if they are, right? So behavioral engagement consists of participation, levels of effort, how much attention we give to a given task. It's showing up and it's not just showing up and getting the work done. It's showing up and doing the work well. That's the difference. Emotional engagement is the feeling of connectedness. It's about feeling interested in what your partner is talking about. It's about enjoying the experience. Cognitive engagement is about deep thinking and curiosity and using strategies to learn and solve problems. There's a model of looking at engagement written by Philip C. Schlechty. He's the founder for the Center for Leadership and School Reform. And he brought us this model of engagement. It's got 5 levels in it. It helps us to understand to what degree people are engaged in an activity. So I'd like to walk through these 5 levels with quick real-life examples for each domain. So the first level is called authentic engagement. It's when you're learning something and you're fully invested in the task because it is personally meaningful to you. No one's necessarily asked you to do it, but maybe they have. But even if they didn't, you would still do it on your own time. That's authentic engagement. The next level down is called strategic compliance, where you're engaged to earn some sort of reward or avoid a negative consequence. Many of us go to our jobs out of strategic compliance. We go for the paycheck, or we go so that we don't get kicked out of our housing for not paying the bills. We go for some kind of money, some sort of external reward. That's called strategic compliance. The next level down is called ritual compliance. It's when you participate out of habit or simply to meet minimum requirements. This is what we often call or refer to as phoning it in. You're not going above and beyond. And students who are just going to school in order to get a passing grade, this would be called ritual compliance. They do what is asked of them to the most minimal degree and then call it a day. You may do this in other areas of your life. Retreatism is the 4th level down, when you are physically present but mentally withdrawn. When I was teaching, this became apparent when I would see kids with their heads down on their desks when they're trying to sleep in class or pretending to sleep in class. If you are physically present but mentally checked out, you have retreated. You are in a state of retreatism. The 5th level is rebellion. To continue with the school analogy, this is when a student actively resists the task or engages in disruptive behavior. In other areas of your life, this may be, these are problematic areas of your life. We'll just say that. Maybe you eat too much, drink too much. Since authentic engagement is the highest level of engagement, this actually links to flow, right? Where optimal engagement happens when skill level and challenge meet. Both flow and authentic engagement involve intrinsic motivation. They both describe a state where the activity is done for its own sake, and both typically feature a deep concentration and joy in the doing. If you haven't read this book and you want to learn more about flow state, it's kind of the flagship book. So that's why I created this tool. It's a matrix that helps you understand how you're engaging in different areas of life. Here's how the engagement matrix works. Across the top, we move from total disengagement to full aliveness. It starts with neglecting and defiance on the left, a sense of giving up or pushing back. Then comes avoidance, passivity, numbing. This is where we go to disconnect. When we're just going through the motions is more like ritual compliance. Conditional motivation over here, when we're more results oriented, we're doing something to get by. Finally, at the top, we have the inspired, curious, you're genuine, living fully. You're in flow state. That's authentic engagement. And this is where we feel fully alive, connected, self-driven. Down the side, you'll see life areas. Here's health and wellness as an example. You might ignore symptoms if you are in a state of rebellion here, or actively reject healthy habits. You might think it doesn't matter. As you move up, you're doing things to get a result, right? So we might be following a regimen as a chore under ritual compliance. Under strategic compliance, you might be doing things like exercising or dieting, but mainly to get a result, to lose weight, maybe to perform better. At the top, you're listening to your body, honoring your limits, seeing health as a foundation, not a checkbox. The goal isn't to be perfect. It's to notice where you are and start shifting one small move at a time. If you find yourself down here in the bottom two categories, it's time for an intervention. That's how you know when it's time for an intervention. If you're going through here, if you're at level 3, you're probably okay. You're doing all right here if you're at level 2. If you're at the top level, you're doing great. But once you get down here to levels 4 and 5, you need help, and you need to seek out help. That's how I use this scale. It helps me identify areas of my life in which I need help, which I need to seek out assistance or some sort of intervention for myself. And I've applied this to other areas like relationships, finance, my spiritual life, mental health, even civic engagement. If you'd like to see all that, just click the link in the description below and I'll get it to you. It'll take you to a webpage where you can download it for free. So use it to check out your engagement in various areas of your life. Try a few spot check examples. In your job, are you creatively contributing or are you just complying? In your relationships, do you feel energized or emotionally checked out? With your health, are you waiting for motivation or building momentum? This isn't about self-judgment or being overly self-critical with yourself. It's about awareness. And once you see how you're engaging or whether you're engaging, to what degree you are engaging, you can choose how to move forward. In my next videos, we're going to talk about how to develop a growth mindset, which is key if you want to move toward a more authentic engagement with your life. So leave a comment below. Where do you find yourself authentically engaged? And where do you just comply? And where do you retreat? What would shift if we aimed for more authentic engagement in just one area of our lives this week? Start small. Try to have a real conversation or take a deeper breath. Have a moment of presence. How you show up in life matters. How you show up in the world matters. How you show up to others matters. It should matter to you. It matters for the continuation of your spirit. If you're living in the lower end of the engagement spectrum, you're already dead in that area. But this kind of death is not permanent. It's like a flame. You can rekindle the action in that part of your life. And like a fire, you have to supply it with enough fuel and oxygen or inspiration. And out of that, you'll get energy and you can bring it back to life. That's developing a growth mindset and taking ownership of your learning, taking ownership of your life. We'll get into that in the next videos. In the meantime, you can grab the free engagement matrix below. I will add it to the video notes. You can use it to reflect honestly on where you are right now. Once you see where you're disengaged, the next question becomes, what can you do about it? Stay tuned. We'll get into that in an upcoming video.